So really with the Altman article, you can pull out of it whatever ends up helping your specific argument. Have you came up with what your main argument's going to be yet? No, that's okay. I would say maybe work on, which of these are you doing?
I'm thinking about this one.
That one? Okay, so look over the semantic and syntactic elements that it mentions in the lecture slides, where it has the vampire film and the coming of age film, and make sure that you understand the semantic elements in those.
Okay.
And then try and create what your main argument's going to be. And then once you have an idea of where you want to go, skim through the Altman and find somewhere in the Altman where he says something that relates to the argument that you've come up with or helps support it or something like that. And that'll make it easier to pick out what you want to engage with Altman.
Okay, so could you give me an example of arguments?
Yeah, so for the first one, it's saying basically show how two semantic elements from the vampire genre and two semantics from the coming of age genre kind of work together to create a hybrid genre. So if you were to say something like the use of the vampire, which is a semantic element of the vampire film, and the use of blood, which is another one, and then the bullies and protagonists from coming of age film. If we take those as our semantic elements, we can say something like the semantic elements of the vampire film, the vampire and the blood work together to change the outcome commonly predicted in coming of age film. So usually in the coming of age film, the young protagonist saves himself. He stands up to the bullies, he fights back. But in this film, instead of that, the vampire saves him, right? And we usually think of vampires as bad.
Yeah.
But in that example, she was good, right? Because she saved the guy that was being bullied. So an argument could be the semantic elements of both genres work together to change the outcome of the syntactic elements of the genres. So rather than the protagonist saving himself from the bullies, the vampire saves it, and rather than the vampire being evil, the vampire's good. And then you could find somewhere in Altman where he says that combining semantic elements can lead to a different syntactic or something like that.
I mean, you're reading?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
But you don't have to use that, like specifically what I said. But once you start figure out which elements you want to use. So from the slides, I think it was week 7's lecture guide. She has the semantic and syntactic elements of the vampire film and the coming of age film. Let me make sure that's right. Yeah, 7 genre. These computers are slow. So go on here, I can make this bigger, and find the semantic elements you want to use from the vampire film. So those are some listed off there. You might be able to find more, but to make it easier, I would stick to ones already listed. So pick 2 from vampire film, and then 2 from coming of age. And once you have those 2, you can start thinking about your argument of how they work together. So that's the big thing. If you think of the example for this, for Alien, it was a combination of the slasher horror and the science fiction. So the semantic elements and then the semantic elements of slasher and science fiction work together. And that's basically what you're doing with these, is showing how those semantic elements work together with these semantic elements to do something. And that something is what your argument's going to be.
Oh.
So you could say 2 of these work together with 2 of these to change what we commonly think of as a syntactic element. Something like that. Her example on Blackboard, let's see, where it says media analysis assignment 2 stuff, is just where she has stuff related to it in here. She has the sample that she made. if you look at that, you can kind of see how she created her argument. And you can't do Westworld like she said, you have to do the films listed on there. But see, she uses the two semantic character types from the Western, and then the semantic elements from the science fiction to do something, right? So her argument is the overall effect is to align the character with, or to align the spectator with this specific character. So something like that. If you pick out the semantic elements you want to use and start working through an argument and you get stuck or something, you can email me and I'll try to help you. Do you have my email address? It should be on the syllabus. Yeah. So if you have any questions at all, or if you get stuck or something, email me. I'll help you with it. But the big part of it at this stage is figure out which of these semantic elements you want to use, and then start creating this first paragraph of an argument. And once you start building your argument, you can then pick out something from the Altman article to mesh in with it. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay.
So, you said at least two genders, but are they vampire and
The vampire and the coming of age. Yeah.
But you said at least two, means I should do more?
No, you can do just those two. We'll be fine. Okay. Technically, you probably could try to do more, but it would make it a lot harder. And if you do just those two, you'll be fine. That'll be good enough.
Okay.
If, like I said, if you have any other questions, just email me and I'll help you.